Good evening, everyone. My name is Centesia. I am the CEO of Mentor Connect. We are a faith based nonprofit organization out of Dallas, Texas. And we are here to serve young adults 25 and under. And we also are looking for supporters that are 25 and above through Mentor Connect. Tonight's presentation, we are going to cover life skills and financial education. And so the life skill that we're going to cover is communication, and the financial education we're going to cover is budgeting and saving. Also tonight, I have our guest who's here. Her name is Cherish, and she will be joining me tonight. Thank you so much for being here, Cherish, and thank you everyone who is here on the call. I hope everything just goes well and smooth tonight. Y'all make sure that y'all go ahead and let me know who's here, who's in the chat, so I can kind of know what's going on, what's really going on out there, and know who's supporting us tonight. So again, Mentor Connect is a nonprofit organization, and so our main pillars of this program is that we're providing biblical principles, Bible studies. We're doing our Bible studies on the first Tuesday of every month, and we're doing the life skills and financial education on the third Tuesday of every month. We are also doing the career exposures on the same night that we're doing the Bible studies. I also have community resources. So on my social media pages, I like to share different community resources that I'm aware of. And so if you ever find yourself in need of anything, and definitely send me a message on social media, and I can send you a few resources. I'm also hoping through Mentor Connect, I'll be able to provide financial assistance. Just with various different things, such as like transportation, helping our young adults get IDs, possibly even helping them obtain a car if they don't have a car for transportation, just whatever they might need. Maybe we'll have a young adult that has a child or something like that, and we would like to, help out with that as well. So the opportunities and the financial assistance, I'm hoping it is endless and we can cover whatever it is that our young adults need. And so we'll also be doing a volunteer project every quarter. So our first volunteer project will be in March. So make sure that y'all get on our email listing. We're at Mentor Connect D as in dog, TX at outlook.com. And that's a way for you to get on our emailing listings. And then also I've made a few different posts where there's different forums where you can get involved with us too. And then of course, like tonight we have our guest speakers. So I want to always try to bring in someone with me to just give a good insight of the different topics that we have going on. So once again, I just want to thank y'all for being out here with us today. Go ahead and leave us some comments so we can know who's out there, because we will be doing a giveaway here pretty soon. Halfway through the presentation, we'll be giving a giveaway, and we'll let you know what's all involved in that. Right. Let's see. So today, like I had mentioned, we're going to discuss communication in the workplace. We're going to discuss professional communication in a professional setting, and communication, within like your family and friend groups and things like that. We will also offer tips about budgeting and saving. Cherish, did you have anything that you wanted to share as we continue on?
Just to highlight that communication and budgeting weren't random ideas, but those are the background to your success in the workplace and in your family and relationships, interpersonal, any aspect.
Thank you. So today's goals for the live today is to increase your knowledge of the verbal and nonverbal communications. We also want to make a positive impact and be able to help people become more aware of like their communication style. I know Cherish and I were having a conversation earlier, and we were like, everyone, needs help with communication. We all fall short sometimes. We all might just want to be in our little bubble sometimes where we don't want to talk to somebody. So I know me personally, I've learned a lot in the last couple months when it comes to communication, especially when I was putting this presentation together. I was like, oh my gosh, it was just reminding me of different things where I could have done better. So we'll be talking about that tonight too. So to help, and then the goal is to also help you take your finances serious early in life. I know that was something I really wish I would have done, really taking it serious, really became disciplined with my finances. So that's something that we want to encourage our young people to, and really no matter how old you are at this point, like, it's really time to take things seriously.
Okay, so the types of communication are verbal and nonverbal. You have the verbal will be written communication, which is text, email, any way you communicate via that isn't sound. And then you have interpersonal communication, self-reflection. These are your thoughts, your prayers, your time alone where you reflect. This is as important as communication with others because this is where you practice communication. How you talk to yourself directly affects how you talk to others. And then you have interpersonal skills, which would be talking to others, one or two or more people, however many it is. Then you have nonverbal communication, which would be body language. This is as important as communication because this shows respect more than what you say. You have eye contact and active listening. All these are a way that you show the person you're talking to, I respect what you're saying, I appreciate your input, and I'm going to acknowledge it. And just remember, any communication is important. Bad communication is worse than no communication.
Awesome. Thank you, Cherish. So when and how to respond. The best time to respond to written communication is immediately, in my opinion, because I know me, I can get sidetracked with stuff. So if you can respond to people, in a good way, in a pleasant way, I would say go ahead and respond, right? If possible, and I know it's not always possible, so that's why I put also if possible, to prevent you from not responding at all. And like I say, I'm dealing with this daily. I think about it now. I know I had a few text messages before I started, and I didn't respond because I was already 15 minutes late. So it just made me think of it. Like it just makes you really become very aware of yourself and things like that. So I could have responded like, "Hey, can I get back with you later?" But I didn't. I was like, "I just seen it," and that was that. But anyways, professionalism. So we all just try to strive to get better. Honestly, professionalism. Always keep it professional. I don't care who it is. Like try to stay professional as possible. Just to prevent any conflict. Speak to, okay, so here I want to speak on as far as like getting a job, the type of communication you can have. Like if you really find yourself struggling with finding work and things like that, one thing I did when I got my first two jobs, I basically asked the people, like they just really did not seem interested in starting an interview with me or anything like that. So I would ask them, I fill out my application. Hey, can I talk to the manager? Hey, I put in the application. They weren't really saying nothing. So I was like, okay, so when can I come in for an interview? Sometimes you have to help people do their job. So if there's anybody, and I said that also because we're going to go to the financial education part. And I know like it's important to have financial education, but if you don't have any finances, what can you really do with it? So I know that's important to if you're looking for a job and you're not really getting any communication back, go ahead and just kind of do the manager's job for them and say, hi, when can I come in for an interview? Because like I said, that is the way I got my first two jobs in life. So, and then entrepreneurship is something else. If you are struggling to find a job, then definitely find you something to a product to sell or a service to provide. And that's, how you can kind of jumpstart being an entrepreneur. The second part of how and when to respond is when to be silent or say very little. So maybe you're having some type of conflict, or maybe you don't like a response that you might get from somebody. Or if something makes you angry, in those cases, you might want to just say, okay, gotcha, especially when you become upset. Let's see. Can't really see it that well. So when the other person is angry or you become upset, respond, don't react, right? So don't just immediately have something to say just because somebody has said something to you. And this is can be more so with the people that you live with, right? I know this was something I practiced here in the last couple months, but definitely respond and don't react. So even if you're upset, if something somebody said made you upset, respond with a okay and think about it later. And if you have more to say after that, hey, I don't really like how you said that to me, or what did you mean by that? You do that at a later time. You don't just react and go acting crazy on people, because you want to keep it professional and cute. I had to say that.
And I think self-reflection plays an important part in when and how to respond, because the better you learn yourself, the better you can conduct yourself with others. So when and how to respond is one of the biggest factors when it comes to communication, because all responses don't need to be immediate. It's okay to say, let me get back to you on this, especially if it's something that you might be getting upset, or you might, in the heat of the moment, it's sometimes best to stay silent or take a pause or say, let's come back, let's rejoin this topic. Because thought can help your communication. If you're speaking without thinking, your point, the whatever you're trying to get that person to understand, can be misconstrued because you said it immediately without putting any thought behind it.
Right. It also leaves room for like regret. You may say something you regret later, so it's better just to, in the heat of the moment, keep all your thoughts in your head. Don't let it come out your mouth. Yeah. So give you time to think about it. Thank you. Thank you. That was good. All right. Discussion. So now I want everybody to think about a time where you could have done better with your communication. Feel free to write it in the chat. I would love to hear more from you all. I would love to hear, your thoughts on communication and just thoughts on the things that we've talked about so far. Let's see in the chat. So as I'm waiting on comments from everyone to share, I'll go ahead and share a few of mine. I'm also trying to make it a way to where I can see everyone's comment as well. So I know for me, I had a situation with a superior at work, and I reacted, and I did not necessarily think about what I was saying before I said it, and it came off as disrespectful. And so I had to go back and apologize and, let her know that I was not trying to be disrespectful at all. So that's another instance of making sure, you humble yourself, especially when you're going into professional settings. And then there was another instance where I just thought about it as I was, like I said, putting this together. I was supposed to do an event, and I don't remember why I didn't end up going, but I also didn't think it was important, like for me to show up. So I didn't, let that person know that I wasn't going. And I just sat and thought about it. I was like, you know what? I felt like I could have did better with that and just let them know, hey, I'm not going to be there, whether they wanted me there or not. Like, I don't know what it was, but I still reflected on that and was like, I could have at least just let her know that I wasn't going to be there. So I could have held myself at a better standard, because you always want to keep, again, your image professional. So next slide. Anybody have any comments about?
I had one about, in almost every instance where I could have done better with my communication, I didn't think of how would this be perceived. I understood my point, I understood my intention, but sometimes we forget, just because we have pure intentions don't mean it will be received purely. So that's just something to always keep in the back of your mind. Like, is this message going to get across how I want it? Can this offend the other person? How would they see this?
Right. So these are our final thoughts on communication. We're getting ready to wrap it up and do this giveaway. Cherish, if you want to go ahead and share like our last thoughts about on the topic of communication.
Okay, so we want you to know who you are dealing with. You cannot respond to everyone the same. You need to learn their patterns. No human is no cookie cutter shape to a human. So the way you learn, understand, and perceive information doesn't mean they will. We want you to know communication is a key aspect in maintaining and building healthy relationships, from the workplace to friendships. A strong foundation relies on communication. And always keep in mind, bad communication is worse than no communication. So take your time to think how you are going to people. Take your time to pray if you need to go in before you talk to certain people. God will guide your tongue better than you ever will. And we want you to know healthy communication shows the importance of a person or event to you, your appreciation, gratitude, maturity, and that you not only respect yourself but others. Communication is showing, I appreciate you for your time. You invited me to this event. I'm going to appreciate your time to let you know to RSVP in a timely manner or message you that I can't make it. Communication also reduces conflict. It protects boundaries and reinforces values, as well as fostering trust and understanding. Healthy communication, we say it reduces conflict because if I express to you my boundaries, my triggers, or I express to you what I'm capable of doing, it limits the misunderstandings that you can have with others.
Awesome. Thank you. Thank you.
Oh, and speak to others as you would speak to God. Remember, you are never talking to that person. You are talking to God. Always keep that in mind.
Right. Because one of the scriptures say, do all things as you doing it to the Lord. So that's awesome. I didn't never even think about it like that. But he said all things. So all right, y'all. So it's giveaway time. I'm asking everyone who's on tonight to pick a number between 1 and 50, and the closest person to that number will receive a free gift basket. I don't care where you are. We are going to mail it to you. We are going to give it to you because these gift baskets are so cool. They're so awesome. I got one right now. I don't know if they can see it because of my green screen thing, but they're really cool. They have like a little dog. You can kind of see it on the screen. They have 2 gift cards inside, a baseball cap, and it's actually sitting in like a lunch bag. So there's a couple different things. The little, what do they call the cup holder things? Is it koozie?
Yeah, a koozie.
A koozie, yeah. So it's one of those in here. Plush toy. So they have a few of these to give away, and I would love to give away to one person tonight. Pick a number between 1 and 50. I do see my YouTube. I also saw my Facebook is up here. So let me see who's on there. Ooh, Jessica Israel said 25. Okay. She also had a comment. I'm going to go. Can you hear me, Cherish?
Yes.
Okay, so Jessica Israel says, I think taking accountability in the workplace is great. Coming back, apologizing if you've done something wrong, so you can make sure you are part of making it a light environment at work. Do all things unto God and not unto men. Oh, I love that. Thank you for that, sis.
Accountability is so important. We were just talking about how when I was late, I made an effort to communicate that ahead when I was in the workplace. Like, it's okay, we're human. You're going to make mistakes. You might be late on work that's due. But if you communicate that ahead of time, they're going to say, you know what, Cherish isn't perfect, but anytime something is going wrong, she lets us know ahead of time. And that's better than a worker who doesn't communicate at all.
Right. Thank you. So we had Jessica. She picked number 25. I'm trying to see if there's any more. I still don't see myself live on Instagram. Maybe my profile isn't professional and that's why it's not going live, but that's okay. I'm going to check YouTube real quick so we can give away this Raising Cane's goodie bag. Okay, we have 4 people on. I don't want to do that. Comments here. All right, y'all. I'm ready to give it away. You see any other comments? Ooh, Calm Balance Mom. She said 35. Sweet Time Bakery said 20. Number 20. So who's it gonna be? Who's it gonna be? What's that number? What's that number, Cherish?
You want me to say it?
Yes, what's the number? Reveal it now.
It's 22. The number is 22.
The number is 22. So that makes, I think Sweet Time Bakery is the winner. Jessica missed it by one number, 1 point. 35. That was a good number too, Calm Balance Mom. That was a good number because that's my age right now. So 35. All right, Sweet Time Bakery, you have won the cane basket. Thank y'all for participating. We're going to continue on with our live. I'll make sure I get you that as soon as possible. I know who that is, so I'll get with her. Congratulations. So our next slide, we're going to be talking about budgeting and financial education. Cherish, you want to take this one on?
Yes, so the importance of budgeting. Budgeting is a key factor in our overall financial success and success in life. It helps build structure in our lives. Put a 1 in the chat if you need more structure. Just put a 1 for me. So it gives you the discipline the discipline required to budget creates a snowball effect by providing a positive impact on your character, which carries you through life. The more activities you get in that require you to be disciplined and structured, it trickles over. So it carries into other places. So it seems as simple or as innocent as budgeting, but it's going to give you discipline when it comes to the gym, when it comes to work, when it comes from abstaining and sacrifice. It also prevents you from accumulating bad debt, allows you to see where your dollar is truly going, provides a direct path to your financial goals. And 1 in 4 American households are struggling to live financially free, struggling with stress from finances. It will separate you, make it you the 3 out of 4 instead of the 1 out of 4. And it keeps you ahead. The earlier you start, the more comfortable you are. So one thing about debt and budgeting is, remember, you don't lack knowledge. You don't lack ability, you lack knowledge. So the more knowledge you're willing to soak up, the more resources you're willing to use and learn from, you will get ahead of the game. You'll be ahead of your peers now if you start budgeting in your young adult years. You'll make the mistakes early and you'll learn from them early on. As well as anything you seek to accomplish when it comes to finances, someone else has already done. So just remember to use those people to your advantage.
Yes, we were talking about that the other night, just going to people asking. I know I was like trying to pull it out my mom a couple months ago. I'm like, okay, how do you do it? How do you budget? What do you do? And she was telling me that like every time she get paid, she put half of her check in her needs account. And we'll talk about that in a little bit. So I thought that was great advice. So this next slide says, what are you saving for? So, people mention that we need an emergency fund. So are you saving for a 6-month emergency fund? Say if you lose your job or just something major in your life happens and, you need a couple $1,000, you want to have an emergency fund basically that will cover your bills for the next 6 months. Another thing that you could save for is investment. So you can save for a new camera if you want to start content creation or start making videos. You can save up for that. You can, also put investments in like commodities like gold. I don't know if y'all been noticing, but gold and silver is skyrocketing right now. It's like I'm trying to get my savings and stuff together because I want to get some, and it's like it's going so fast where it's like, am I ever gonna even have enough to get any? Because it's just in the last couple of days, y'all, that market of commodities is growing. So another thing that you can save up for is your education, mentorships. You want somebody to teach you how to sell on Amazon. You know, some of those courses can be expensive, so you might have to save up for it, things like that. I know a big one is a cash car, especially for young adults, is saving up for a car. I actually met a young adult at Walmart a couple months back, and I was telling him about Mentor Connect, and he's like, yeah, I'm working at Walmart so I can get a car. And he also wanted to go into HVAC school and things like that. Well, I actually got to see it myself. That young man saved up and got him a Honda, and he be showing it off on social media. And it's just awesome to see, you know. And then paying down debt. And we'll talk about that a little bit more when we refer off of a book that we're going to be discussing in a little bit. So that's another reason why people save, is to pay off their debt.
Yes, and a good thing to always keep in mind is have a goal for what you are saving for. When you just saving money to save it, we often end up thinking it's free money to use when we have a wheel or when we see something we like. No, always set a goal. It's either for your future or it's for your future, you know. Save up for a house, a car, always have something, because a goal turns a wish into reality.
Awesome. Thank you for that. That's real. That is definitely real. And I don't know if we're going to talk about it in another instance, but you know, when you do have your savings, I think we are. Let me just go to the next slide. You want to cover this one?
Yes. So budgeting and saving. These factors depend on your living expenses. It is no cookie cutter budget. You have to make a budget that works for you. Some people can save 20%. If you can save 50, that don't mean stick to the rule, save 20. No, save 50. So if you are single, it is best to have a roommate or live with relatives. I know we get in the feeling where we want our own place, our own things, but it'll put you ahead of over half of your peers. If you minimize your expenses now, you will be able to do what you want with them later. When you are budgeting and saving, everything is about sacrifice, determination, and focus. If you can learn the importance of sacrifice as a young adult, you will be an amazing adult, mother, father, whatever you become, because everything involves sacrifice, whether it's your walk with Christ, your budgeting, your job, your relationship, your friendships. Also, that everything starts in the mind. Set your intentions and stick to them. If you can keep your word with you, you can keep your word with anybody. So it's best to practice with budgets, with finance, with discipline. Because if you can trust you, anybody can trust you.
Awesome. Thank you for that. That was good. That was so awesome. I'm with it. Everything starts in the mind. Set your intentions and stick to them. You know what I was thinking, Cherish?
What?
With communication, I'm trying to figure out if we went over that slide. I'm gonna go back real quick. Why didn't I see this? Keep your image professional. Okay. So on the topic of communication, we had some scriptures that, see, it keeps skipping over it. Okay, it's on the screen. So I did want to share this information, scriptures about communication, just kind of rewinding a little bit. But do good and to communicate, forget not, for with such sacrifices, God is well pleased. So God is very pleased when we communicate with one another. He says to do good and to communicate. So that's Hebrews 13:16. And then James 1:19, it says, wherefore, my beloved brethren, let every man be swift to hear, slow to speak, and slow to wrath. So that's a good tip for communication. You always want to listen and hear what somebody is saying before you react, like what we was talking about. And then there's a lot of other scriptures down there. If anybody wants to take a screenshot and go review them later, they'll be able to do that. A lot of good scriptures on communication. I just want to rewind back to that and then go forward back to our budgeting and saving. So I also wanted to share this 50-30-20 rule. I know my family, we learned about this a couple years ago. Warren Buffett actually uses this budget. And so it talks about 50% of your income going towards your needs. 20% going towards savings. But for myself, and I'm sure for a lot of other people, they make sure that they do the 10% first. So I know a lot of people may have seen my post, but we always want to pay our tithes first. So I take my tithes out of that savings area and I pay, my 10% tithes, and then I do a 10% towards my savings. And then you got 30% wants. Honestly, I'm not even gonna talk about myself. We're not gonna talk about me today. But it's a good budget to have. And like Cherish was talking about earlier, if you can put more money into your savings, do that. If you can switch those up. These percentages can be adjusted. You just need to know where your money is going. Do weekly check-ins with your money. Also, once you have exceeded your limit for that week or that month, you must stop the spending. You can't go into your savings and get something out because you want something, right? You have to figure out some other way to get the money, but you shouldn't even do that, right? Cherish, because I know you were telling me about that earlier. Tell me more. How does that work?
So when you are budgeting, that's why I said discipline and sacrifice come into play, and a disciplined woman or man is the most attractive man you can find next to a godly one. So when it comes to the money that you give yourself for the week, you need to remember and keep in mind that is all you have. If you have $1,000 in savings and $200 in spending money, all you have to your name is $200. And if you keep that mindset, you are much less likely to go out and go over budget. One thing I always tell people, if you're going to have a savings account, get it at a separate bank than your checking account. So if you do have a checking account with Bank of America, get a savings account with a credit union or a Wells Fargo, just to say, because you're not going to be tempted. One thing about it, most of us can fall victim to temptation more than we know. It might not always be with another person, but it might be with your wants, with your fleshly things that you think you need. You need those shoes. Go home and sit on it and leave without them and see, did you still want them? Because a lot of things are just what our flesh wants. So just keeping in mind your budget. Like it says, percentages can be adjusted. So if you are blessed enough where your expenses and bills are 20% of your income, put 40% of your savings. So adjust it and understand you are different. And one thing I always tell people is, for 1 month straight, write down every dollar you spend, whether it's in a book, a phone, or Excel spreadsheet, because we always have more money than we think we do. You just spend $200 at Starbucks a month, and that can be going in your savings as well. So just take a month and do some reflection. See where every dollar went, whether it's fast food, gas, groceries, and how can you minimize those expenses.
That's really good. I don't know if anybody's on TikTok and y'all can hear that, but Cherish advice was take 1 month and write down all your expenses in a notebook. Everything that you purchase, write it down so you can really see where your money is going and start budgeting a little bit better. Take away some things that you don't really need. Let's go to the next slide. Okay, so I wanted to share. I read this book several years ago called The 21-Day Financial Fast, and it helps you with breaking bad habits like impulse buying. I know it suggests that you don't buy like any sweets for 21 days. So anything that you really don't need, you don't spend your money on it. When you go to the store, you go in there, the grocery store, you go in there and get what you need. You don't have to get ice cream and brownies and all the extra stuff. So I love that book for that. I actually, like I said, did it and it was awesome. It really changed the way I spent for like probably about a year or two, maybe more. Because it was like, I think I read this book right before I started having my children about 6 years ago. And so it really changed the way I spent. I don't even think I stopped eating sweets right before I got pregnant and things like that, just because I wasn't buying it, and I really enjoyed it. So it also talks about debt reduction, paying off small debts first. I do remember that part of the book. Intentional saving as well. It goes through, it has a lot of scriptures throughout this book. And I also shared this with our sisterhood group. We actually did like a book club, maybe I think it was about a month. We did a book club over this book, and they really enjoyed it to the point to where they were like, oh, we should do this next year. We should do it next year. I think we should always try to implement this or whatever. So it's a very impactful book. If you head over to Michelle's Instagram page, she actually has a lot of different like Excel budget sheets and things like that in her profile link. So go ahead, go ahead and follow her. If you don't have anybody that you go to for financial education and things like that, Michelle Singletary does a great job with sharing that information. Anything on this, Trish?
No, but I will read that book.
You said what?
I will look into that book and read into it for sure.
Right. And you had a book that you want. Do you remember the name of the book that?
Yes, the book that I read that helped me with my financial life is Millennial Money Makeover. It's just expressing how to take on debt. If you were a person that made mistakes, always understand you at the perfect time to start is today. I did do things a little different. For me, I pay bigger debts first. The book I read and I see the one you read say pay the little ones. For me, why I paid bigger debts first was because once those were out the way, the little bit that was left was nothing. It makes you feel good. Once I get the mountain out the way, the rocks weren't an issue. But those books make you look at finances differently. And that's why I say when it comes to finances, use every resource, person, website, ChatGPT, anything. We have so many resources readily available. Don't let them pass you by. So I would just focus on that because many adults do not lack finances, they lack discipline.
I'm one of them. I'm gonna work on it though. I'm so excited about my savings account this year. I am super excited. I have to get into the budgeting part, but I wanted to present this to the young adults because I'm not playing with y'all. Start now. Start now so that you can become disciplined. You can become and have and get what you want out of life. Like it's not, you got to make these sacrifices now, and learn these habits now. You have to learn good habits. I have a lot of my friends budget. I know my cousin. I was running with her for a little bit. I remember her budgeting, but the time is now. It's never too late. Y'all start now. And Cherish, I want to thank you so much for joining me tonight. This is the end of our call. I want to thank everyone for coming on and supporting us as well tonight. I'm so excited for Mentor Connect and what we have next. Soon we'll have our website up to where our young adults can schedule meetings with us so we can help them really work on their life plan, really help them meet their goals, really help them get closer to Christ, showing them scriptures, encouraging them to pray, and just put everything in the Lord's hands, so they can just be ready for life and have a successful life. That's what we want from Mentor Connect. So again, we believe that every young adult should have the opportunity and education that they need to live a joyful and pleasant life. Thanks again. We'll see y'all next time. We'll be back the first Tuesday of every month and the third Tuesday of every month. That's our plan for going forward.
Thank you so much for having me. And please remember, if you don't remember anything, you do not lack the ability to do anything. You lack the knowledge. So go get the knowledge and do what you will.
Peace out, y'all. Have a good night.